All right. Yes. Okay, we're here. Great. Hello, visionaries. I'm MiShara Bianca, the Vision Midwife. Welcome to this episode of EnVision, the show that pushes you to birth your vision. We have our special guest here today. She is an author, motivational speaker, community advocate, and none other than Miss Alyssa Hogan. Woo!
Hello.
Welcome to EnVision, Alyssa. Say hello to the visionaries.
Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. I'm excited, and I can't wait to get down to really the nitty gritty.
Absolutely, absolutely. So before we get started, please go ahead, like, share. This episode is going to be magnificent. We have some things to talk about. Alyssa has some stories to share that I'm sure that will benefit you as well as your friends. So share the video right now. Thank you very much. So Alyssa, let's jump right in.
Okay.
So first of all, I have to say this, y'all. Alyssa and I go way back, so this ain't nothing new for us. I met Alyssa back in 19 when we was at the legendary Jones High School as cheerleaders. Yes. She was a senior and I was a freshman, so we just gonna put that there. We don't need to talk about them dates. But it is good seeing you again. It is good seeing you again.
Thank you.
So one of the reasons I asked you to be on the show is because we have some things in common. And you've had to push through a lot of obstacles in order to thrive and be the visionary that you are. One of the things that you and I have in common is both being teenage parents. Yes. So kind of talk to us about your upbringing, being a teenage parent, and just the beginning of who Alyssa Hogan is and how you were formed into the person you are today.
Well, my upbringing, I grew up in the famous Orange Center.
What? See, y'all ain't know that too. I grew up
0 to 18 until I went off to school. But I was also a product of a teenage mom. My mom was 16 when she had me. And at the time she was married, not to my father, but later on she married my brother's father. But yeah, I grew up in Orange Center, and yeah, I had some interesting relationships. I was searching for love in all the wrong places.
As most of us were.
Yes. But I've rekindled my relationship with my dad. He has always been there, so I won't say that he hasn't been in my life. But, you know, when you have a parent that has a wife and they have other children, you're fighting for that attention. You're fighting to be that love of their life.
Right.
And so I sought love in other places. I sought it in me, and I sought it in gifts and everything. The more you gave me, the more you loved me.
Absolutely. You know, let's back up and talk about that for a little bit, because I think it's important to say that this is not to bash anyone, but I had my first child when I was 16 or 17 also. And I always said that it never affected me that my dad was not a part of my life. But it wasn't until I got to be about 25 that I realized that his absence for me, because he was just completely absent, played a huge part of some of the voids that I had. And like you, I was in and out of relationships, and I was promiscuous.
Yeah.
I was very promiscuous
Me too.
in my teenage years. And I just equated that with being, I don't even want to say love. It was just a connection, right? I felt wanted. That's what it was. It made me feel wanted. So I'm just going to put this plug out there. If you are a father to a child, please make sure that you're in their lives. I know you hear it all the time, and I know people talk about how hard it is to deal with the mamas, but they have a court system for that. Let them deal with it. Don't not be a part of your child's life, because later on it can scar them, and they don't even realize it until they're older, and then they're adults like us trying to figure out how to deal with and pick up the broken pieces. So that's my plug. So anyway, when you say you grew up in Orange Center, let's talk about that for a minute, because I want the people to understand. We're not talking about those beautiful new apartments. Have you seen them? That
yes.
They built? Okay, so we're not talking about those. We're talking about OC, Orange Center, when it was called The Village. Okay, I lived 2 streets over on Dobie Avenue, and my mama would not let me walk through there to even go to the store. Okay, so let me get that. Let's get that together. It was riddled with drugs, a lot of fighting, all of that kind of stuff was over there at that time when you grew up. So it was not necessarily the projects, but it was a income based living. So people lived where they can afford, right?
Definitely low income, and
right.
I was coming from a mom that dropped out in 9th grade. So it was affordable. So that was
absolutely.
So definitely that was important. But by her dropping out, I was determined. That was my way out.
Right. One of the things I think as a teenage parent that that pushed me was the fact that people told me I wasn't going to be able to do it, that I had ruined my life.
Oh yeah. That was. Right. I had teachers.
Yeah,
I had teachers. Even my dad said, "So what you gonna do now? You're not going to school?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm going."
Right.
By any means necessary.
And you did.
I did.
So tell us about school. You are a graduate of FSU?
Yes.
FSU. All right. So talk to us about your schooling, what you went to school for, all of those good things.
Well, I actually went to school I wanted to be a criminal lawyer, to run my mouth, because I like to run my mouth. That's why we so close, we both like to talk.
Chit-chat it up.
Yes. So I got a degree. I had my bachelor's degree in criminal justice. I actually was an honor student all the way through school, so I actually had college credits in high school.
Yes, she did.
And graduated in 3 years from Florida State.
Come on through.
Yes, they told me I wouldn't do it, so I had to overdo it.
And you overdid it. And so did you start working? Like, what was that like when you got out of college? Did you move into the workforce? That kind of thing?
Oh, see, we just skipped over some things. It's going to be in the next book. Some things. I was still fighting some demons while I was in school.
Okay.
It was during the day, I was a student, a studious student.
Right.
And at night, I was a dancer.
Girl, wait, hold on. Because I ain't know that. It was a dancer.
Yes.
Ran around the pole you go.
No, I was the exclusive. I got to the point where I was the one who set up everything. I danced for NBA players, NFL players that came into town. So, and I also worked full time.
Yeah.
But I was living this life, and it was like a high for me.
Yeah.
Because we never dealt with the issue.
Right.
We just kind of pushing through, and it's once again I got this attention, and I said, "Well, gosh, guys will give me money to see me, and I don't have to sleep with them.
We don't have to sleep with them." I understand.
Yeah.
And so the self-esteem, all of those things that play.
Oh, I thought I had high self-esteem.
Girl, listen,
if somebody would have said I didn't have high self-esteem, I would have thought something was wrong with them.
Yeah,
I walked around like I had it going on.
Right. Right.
Especially I'm at a prestigious school. I had my son with me, but other than that obstacle that I went through, I went to school and I got to reinvent myself.
Yeah.
I came from a home where I didn't own a pair of Nikes, and now I went to college where I had so many scholarships that I owned the best.
Yeah, wow.
And so it was like being thrust into like this, almost like an artist lifestyle, where you come home and it's like the glitz, the glamour, the diamonds, I had never owned a diamond. I didn't, I saw diamonds, but I had never owned it.
Right.
So imagine this type of lifestyle, and you coming home and everybody's like, "Oh my God, you're doing so good, and what are you doing?" And
right, because you're still coming back home to the same space that you left.
Correct.
Right. Absolutely. To people who they're accustomed to fast money and that kind of lifestyle as well. So they're looking at the things you have saying, "Man, you're doing amazing."
None of my friends, I didn't know anybody who went off to school. Everybody was barely graduating at that time, barely had a GED.
Wow.
They were working 2 or 3 jobs. They barely had a car, a lemon as a car. And so they would call me, and I was staying in my first dorm was like a private dorm. We had pools, we had cafeterias. So that's where I began really living above my means, because then items and, material possessions made me who I was.
Absolutely.
It was, the rims on the car. It was, everything possible, the jackets, the leather, the boots, I had to keep up with the Joneses. Because everybody in school had certain things, and they didn't know I didn't come from that life.
Yeah, right. I understand.
And so to fit in, that's what I did.
That's what you did. So you moved back.
We don't even talk about how I moved back. That was by force. When I tell you I was caught up in this life on trips to the Bahamas, by myself, putting my life at risk with this lifestyle. And I kind of got caught up because, we're constantly trying to get every dime that we could get to make the next, going with the next hustle.
Right.
You're interacting with guys that might not be the best guys because they're willing to give up the money.
Right.
And I hooked up with the wrong guy, and I had to come pack all my stuff up in my car with my tail between my legs and come on home to Orlando.
Right.
Once the feds had threatened me.
Oh, not the feds.
Yes, the feds. That's a whole nother story, but yes, the feds.
Wow.
And so I never really told anybody. So I had to come home and stay in a friend's bedroom with my son. And so I went from staying in my own, maybe working 20 hours a week as a counselor at that point. I was counseling during the day,
oh, wow.
and then still dancing at night because I could not let go of that life.
Let go of that life. Which is something that we hear a lot of people getting wrapped up in the lifestyle. I mean, you see that now on Facebook and all kind of social media where people are just wrapped up in materialistic things, and it makes you wonder. I mean, coming from the background you come from, I know I look at some of the pictures and just say, is that really who you are? You know, is that really where your mindset is? But so one of the reasons, or the main reason I have you on the show today is because you have written it's kind of a biography.
It's like a compilation. It's more than just my story.
Okay, and we'll just hold it up.
Yes, it's called The Survivor Behind the Name, and it's about 14 women in here, including myself. And these are not just domestic violence stories. My story includes, a snippet of my life, which was a domestic violence incident that was really a life-changing incident in my life.
Absolutely. So let's talk about that, because the name of the book is The Survivor Behind the Name. And people know your name because of your situation.
Yeah. But that's not how I want it to be known.
That's not how you want it to be known.
No,
absolutely.
That is not how I want it to be known.
Absolutely.
Just imagine being in the headlines, pre-K teacher kills husband. Who would ever want that type of thing?
Right. And that's literally what the headline said.
Yeah. Oh, I memorized it.
Yeah, that's literally what the headline said.
It replayed through my head over and over again. So, yeah, that was definitely, and I was very private. So to have everybody judging me, not knowing what my situation was, and even with my husband, this was somebody I loved, someone I had been with over 10 years.
Right.
Had 3 children with, and would have never dreamed of harming him any kind of way.
Right. Let's talk about that. Not necessarily, not that incident. We can lead up to that, but you said you were together for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
How did you all even, get together? And then how did it go from being we're so in love to a full-fledged domestic violence to now we're sitting here talking about the headlines? How did it even start?
Well, of course, I came home in the club doing my usual. At this point, I'm saying, God, okay, I need to change my life, but I'm still fighting with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was supposed to be getting myself together, but instead, I met my husband at the club, and he swept me off my feet. Our first date was at church.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I was like, oh my God, God has sent me the man of my dreams. A working man. He was in suit and ties, and he was, gorgeous, and just anything I wanted, he gave it to me.
Right.
And he just kind of, pumped me up like, oh my God, yes, I understand you went through some things, but, you're so smart, you're so intelligent, and I'm like, oh wow.
Right.
Because remember, at this time, I'm still staying with my friend.
Okay.
And trying to get myself back together. So once again, my self-esteem was lower than ever.
Yeah.
And so you're dating at a period of time that you shouldn't be dating.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be dating, and so
I think Betty Wright said something. You can't pick up nothing but dirt when you're on the ground.
yes.
Yeah, but we don't realize that. The only thing you can pick up on the ground is dirt.
Yes. And had I just given it some time and got myself together, I would have noticed that we weren't equally together.
Mm-hmm.
But this relationship was going extremely fast.
Yeah. Like most of them do when you're in love.
Yeah. But I found out that most domestic violence relationships are the ones that go fast.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that is kind of like, moved in before 6 months,
Wow.
Within a year, pregnant, engaged. And I'm like, oh my God, what has happened? But I love him, but at the same time, he was overly jealous.
Okay. So what were signs? When you say overly jealous, tell us what that looks like. I did a show, when was it? In October, November, where we spoke about domestic violence. And one of the things that they said were things like, it started off with their abuser speaking about what they were wearing. I don't want you to wear that. That's a little too short. Or things like you can't hang with this person, hang with that person.
Oh my goodness.
And so we internalize that and say, oh my God, he really loves me. That looks delicious. Thank you. We internalize that and say, oh my God, he really, really loves me. Right?
Yeah.
What was that like for you?
It was, your clothes are too tight. It's not professional. I had started a new job working with DCF. And it was, your clothes are too tight. Are you really wearing that to work today? And every day it was a comment where pretty much to the point where I had to get his acceptance of, no, that doesn't look right today, or, but he would say, oh, well, no, I'm just saying because I don't want you to look a certain way.
Right.
So it was never like pushy at first.
Right.
It didn't get pushy until we were married.
Okay.
But before
and so when he's saying these things to you, what's your thought? What are you thinking?
Once again, my self-esteem was low. I loved the way I looked. I loved the attention. And a part of me did think at times that maybe I did wear tight clothes. But I had never experienced a relationship where the person had a problem with anything I was wearing.
Right.
They had a problem with my hair, even down to the way I wore my nails.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. He would buy me gifts, bought me when the walkie-talkie Sprint phones were out.
Thank you.
And you're thinking like, oh my God, my man is just showering me with gifts. He bought me a phone so he could keep up with me.
And you're thinking it's because he loves you.
He just loves me.
And he cares about you. He doesn't want you out here without a phone. I mean, who would want their woman out without a phone?
Oh, that's what he told me.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And it was just those phone calls, where you at? Make sure that's where you are, or, your friend's, not the best person.
No.
So it was the judging me on my friends, the everything you can pretty much think of. It wasn't all at one time.
Right.
Because of course she'd be like, this man is crazy. I gotta go. I can't deal with this. But it was slowly that, once I gave into one thing,
something else
had me hooked, and it continued to happen.
Okay. And so, what I tell people all the time is, I've never been in a physically domestic violence situation. Maybe a little verbal or mental. Because like you, I people would notice, but I didn't know I had self-esteem issues, and I did. And I think when I was in that relationship, I was looking for somebody to validate me. And so it was really important what he thought or what everybody outside thought, right?
Yes.
So how do you go from being this to just chatter to now we're coming, like, did he just, one day did you all get into what we call a fight? Or, I mean, like, how do you go from being this is just a talk where I don't like what you have going to now he's physically abusing you? Like, do you remember that day, that first day?
Well, honestly, my relationship didn't get physical until the night of our incident.
Really?
It was emotional. It was mental. It was the name calling. It was the telling you you're stupid, calling you, names that we can't say. Right now. He would just go from completely loving to, if something wasn't going his way, he would just fire off like I was, somebody in the street that had done him wrong.
Right. So. Wow. So let's talk about that, because you stayed in this relationship for 10 years. And I think it's important because when people think about domestic violence, they only think about physical abuse.
Correct.
And you're saying that's not your story at all?
No.
At all?
My husband was very loving. He was affectionate. He held my hand. We were in church every Sunday.
Wow.
He was the pastor's friend. He even did jobs for the pastor. We continued, and I think the things that kind of held us together where every few years I would have a child. And this is also something that men do to keep you kind of trapped in a relationship. But had it not been for the kids, I probably would have left sooner.
Where were you?
Yeah, I probably would have left sooner.
Okay.
I actually left 10 times.
So you left?
I left 10 times, yes.
Well, what made you go back?
Just wanted my family. I didn't want to give up.
Okay.
You have when you go down that aisle and say to till death do us apart, you really value.
Right.
And then he tells you all the things that you want to hear. I'm going to stop. I'm not going to do it anymore. Mm-hmm. I love you. I got the balloons, the flowers, the everything at the job.
Right.
So it was, I mean, he knew what I wanted.
Right. So I know that the viewers are wanting to know, can you talk about that night? Are you able to talk about that night?
Yeah, this is over.
Okay. So take us through that night. Because were you all together at this time?
Yeah.
Okay, you were together at this time. So what happened?
It was during classic weekend, and he got upset with me because his cousin came in town, mm-hmm. and his cousin asked me, was it okay for him to purchase some food for me and the children, and I told him yes. This is something he always did. Mm-hmm. His cousin comes in town. This has been going on for 10 years. Mm-hmm. And he actually brought his girlfriend this time, so it's kind of different. My husband got upset and confronted me in the kitchen and said I was embarrassing him and making it look as though he didn't provide for me.
Okay. Wow.
And so he held that against me the entire night. We had company. We had over 30 people probably in and out our house that were coming in town because we were in the spot not too far from where the classic was going to take place. It was, his friend guys, their wives, their girlfriends. So we were outside hanging out, just chatting until probably about 11 o'clock when we decided to go to another family member's house. And my husband told me to get in the car with him at that time. So I kind of knew mm-hmm. that was a sign that something was wrong.
Wow. Okay.
So we fast forwarded to going to the family member's house and him getting to the family member's house and saying that he didn't want to be there.
Okay.
So we come home. I wasn't going to that house
right
in the condition he was in. So what I did is I dropped him off and left.
You dropped him off at the house,
hoping that he would go to sleep.
Okay.
I left for about 30 minutes. Came back. I walked in the door and I was hit in the face with a phone.
Wow. Okay.
And it just went from there, telling me to get out, and I said okay. And on my way out, he blocked the door and continued to hit me until I blacked out. I was on the floor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so his son happened to be there that night, and he was in between us trying to break it up, but he couldn't. Mm-hmm. It was just so violent. And in my mind, I thought, do women ever know that moment when their husband's going to kill them?
Mm-hmm. That's what's going through your mind.
Yeah.
That he could kill you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I did whatever it took to protect myself once I came to from being blacked out. And I didn't even know at that time that he was deceased. Oh. I didn't find out till being at the police station. The police officer told me.
Oh, wow.
I just thought he was cut. And so it was definitely a nightmare.
Right. Wow. Wow. So that's not a secret because, again, it's been in the headlines.
Yeah.
So talk to me about after that because I know your life changed. You were, at that time, a teacher?
Yes, I was a pre-K teacher.
Okay.
That was arrested for the first time in maximum security on second-degree murder.
Maximum security?
Maximum security. With the shackles and where the people that rob and kill and shoot police officers. Yeah, I was in that area.
Right.
At what point in isolation until I talked myself out of isolation because I didn't want to be in there by myself. So, yeah, this is where I was. And I stayed in there. They denied me bond.
Wow.
And I was in there 30 days.
Oh, my God.
But it was a place that I needed to be.
Right. Okay. Why do you say that? What happened while you were in there? If you saying it's a place you needed to be?
I needed to be because at the time I was angry. All the hurt, the resentment I had at this time stopped going to church. And so I had really turned my back and told God that I could care less about anything that he had to do with my life. Because he had left me, he had abandoned me. I had did what I was supposed to do. I married, I was living the right way, I was no longer in the street. I had a good career. And how could you let something like this happen? I prayed for my husband day and night. And I would go to sleep in my bed crying off the things that he did and said to me.
Right.
And so that's at the time God came to me. and pretty much showed me all the times he helped me get out of this relationship.
Right.
I chose to stay, even to the point where that was not my husband, and I prayed about it. But I chose to marry him.
Right. So you're saying prior to you all getting married, and even during your marriage, you said prayers, and God had told you that this isn't the man for you.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
And you know those girlfriends that always saying, "Girl, I gotta pray about it," and you saying, "Girl, you don't have to pray about it."
Yeah.
You know he cheating on you.
Yeah.
Girl, you ain't got to pray about it.
Look, click on the picture. Okay.
Yeah. When
Right.
your intuition tells you that something is not right, to the point where you have to pray to God on whether you should marry a man, you should not marry him. You don't need to ask your friend girl.
Right.
It's not you. Okay, of course, pray about it, but you already know the answer.
You already know the answer.
And so I have a lot of girlfriends that are always saying it, and I'm like, sweetie, don't pray about it.
Yeah.
It's a done deal. This is, you already know. God has given us intuition to protect us.
Right. Right. So, moving forward, because I remember meeting with you probably a year and a half or so back, right before you were going to trial.
Yes.
And I'm going to say that you were in a different space. And
Yes.
it was a space of you really were not sure whether or not you were going to face prison time.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I remember us having that conversation, and in my heart, I'm thinking, oh my God, this is really real for her. You know, for us as dudes. You know what I'm saying? But,
Of course.
And then they move on to the next thing. But for you, this was, I'm having to talk to my children. I'm trying to spend as much time. I remember you said that you were doing something. I can't remember something, like birthday party or what, but you were doing something with your child because you wanted to make sure that in the event that you were sent to prison, you were able to spend all of the time that you wanted to with them. Remember that conversation we had?
Yes, I remember that.
So, since then, you've been to court.
Correct.
Okay, and what
that was
happened
after
with it?
3 years.
After 3 years.
Pending trial.
3 years going through that.
And I was acquitted.
Okay.
Acquitted, walked out of the courtroom free. It was done. And I actually was acquitted on Stand Your Ground.
Okay. Wow.
So I'm the first woman that was actually acquitted in a domestic violence relationship, because it was usually used between two males that maybe got into altercations.
Right.
But they said it's never been used between a couple.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, so what's the difference? If someone attacks you, you should have the right to defend yourself.
Right.
Especially in your own home.
Right.
This was my home.
Right.
And yeah, it passed. And so with hope that it's some women that went to prison. I was in there with a woman that had just been sentenced to 40 years for the same crime.
Really?
And I didn't know at the time that I was facing life. I didn't find out till my day of trial that I was facing life.
Wow.
So the judge offered me 10 years and said, Ms. Hogan, you sure you don't want this 10 years?
Right.
Because if you lose this case, you're going to have life. Meaning until you die, ain't no way to count it.
Wow.
So that is really a decision, and I left it up to God. He had already told me that it was done. Mm-hmm. And so I had to have faith.
Wow. Girl, that's deep, because Lord, I don't know. Some of us might took them singing.
I mean, and now you see why so many of our sisters and brothers take these sentences. We never know why they take these pleas.
Right.
When the judge is telling you, you can take this 10 and you can count that. You can get out and my son can be 14, my baby. Mm-hmm. Or I can go to life and I can see my children, my grandchildren, everything behind bars, and I will be in there until I die.
Girl, Lord have mercy. Woo, that's a choice.
Yeah.
That's a choice. So since then, you've been a busy bee.
Yes,
everywhere I've been, she's been. On every poster I see her. So you have a lot going on.
Yes, I do.
You have Business Chic, right?
It actually is up under my name now. It's Alyssa Hogan LLC.
Okay, so talk to us about that. What is that?
This is an empowerment, and this is not what I set out to do. Because before this, I was working with DCF during this relationship of over 10 years. I was a DCF investigator and a social worker.
Right.
So like I always tell people, y'all want to fix lives, but I really fix lives.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I went into homes and really fixed families' lives. But that's not what I want to do. I went and got an MBA because I wanted to stay away from dealing with people's problems.
Right.
I said I'm going to go look cute and crunch numbers at a desk. But see, that's not what God had for me.
Right.
And someone asked me, I've been following you, and I just wanted to know how you got past something that many wouldn't have made it through. And she said, have you ever thought about coaching women through? I said, interesting. And that's where it popped up from.
So what services do you offer? Tell us about your services.
I offer coaching service, group services, and individual one-on-one services to women that are maybe going through some different things or obstacles in their life. It doesn't necessarily have to be domestic violence. And it's so funny, I've been working with men that went through divorces, and now, thank God, they are remarried. They made it through the divorce, remarried, and one of them is engaged right now. So we were working, they were very successful. So it's not women that are just broken.
Right.
But just like we said, we can go through life thinking,
we are hit, girl.
We good.
Listen, let me tell y'all this right here. 37. I'm 37. I am 37. Yes,
I was 37 for 3 years.
Okay. So, yes, because if you 3 years, then I was in the 9th, you was in the 12th. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So, 37. And I had some epiphanies about a month ago about stuff that happened to me when I was 17 years old. That's almost 20 years ago that I just had that. You ain't never dealt with that. Wait a minute. So, you're absolutely right.
And I find that women stopped me in the library crying. I left my husband, because of what I saw you go through, and reached out to me.
Right.
And it was more than domestic violence. They were successful. They were bosses. But it was areas in their life that they were struggling. They had toxic relationships, issues with their mothers, issues with their stepchildren. They were wondering, should I leave my career? I really want to pursue my dreams. And these are women that I work with.
Okay.
Because who could better tell them than someone who's actually been there?
Right.
I actually signed up and took my tax class during my trial.
I remember that. Let me tell y'all, this is the hardest working woman in the world. Because she wasn't working as the preschool teacher, but she was selling Mary Kay. She was doing taxes. She was doing travel. Look, I know all of these because I didn't use all of her services.
Yes.
So she was still hustling, even in the midst of that.
Because they would not hire me. I had an MBA, pending charges, and they told me, we would definitely hire you, but we can't hire you in pending charges.
And I remember that conversation. I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
And it was 3 years, and it's like, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
At that point, I knew how people that actually had felony degrees, but I was innocent until proven guilty, right?
Right. No, we know. So one of the things, of course, we talk about, especially on the show, as me being the Vision Midwife, my goal is to push you. And so PUSH is an acronym I've created. So we've talked about the preparation. We're going to skip the U a little bit because that's a whole nother thing. But the S. So for you at this point, Alyssa, what is success and what does that mean for you?
What is success? Well, success right now is just an example of my day-to-day.
Okay.
I took my 5-year-old to the dentist today. I was able to spend that time. I didn't have to call anybody. I didn't have to request off. I'm still able to provide a home for my children, plan vacations, and help women. And spend time in church and advocate for things that I feel very positive about. I make my schedule every day. I work hard. I might not go to bed some nights to 2 in the morning. I'm working on that.
Right.
And I'm working on my doctorate degree, which I'll be done within 2 years.
Right. Congrats. And the doctorate's in
organizational development. So I plan on helping women business owners. I'll go into different organizations, but I'm really passionate about women.
Absolutely. Let's talk about that because you mentioned your 5-year-old.
Yes.
How many children do you have?
4.
4. And all of them were around through all of this.
Correct.
Okay. How has this affected them? Because a lot of times we don't think about how it affects our kids, right?
Correct.
And your story is different because it made front page. Correct. And it made the news. And we saw it over and over again.
Yes.
And if we didn't see it over again, they shared it over and over again on Facebook.
Yes.
So I know your children were kind of like embedded and surrounded with it.
But you know what? They had been in a school for 3 months. That school didn't know me. They knew me from coming out and interacting, to PTA mom, always involved in my children's life. They reached out to my children, provided Christmas for my children. They showed up with food. They showed up with clothing. When family, friends, my church that I had been in 12 years didn't send me a card.
Listen, we're not gonna talk about the church. There's some things I want to say, but I ain't gonna
we
say
will talk
it.
about the church.
But let me just say this: was anybody in your church aware of what was going on? I heard you say that he was friends with the pastor. Did he know?
I don't know for a fact that he knew, so I won't put him out there like that. But they didn't reach out to me. I was a member.
Okay.
A sister that needed some prayer. My children. What about them?
Well, I'm gonna say this right here, and I'm gonna leave it.
Yes, we're gonna leave.
I have something coming up that I'll be sharing on Facebook. It's called 3W. Women, Wine, and Words. And one of the things we're going to talk about are those taboo subjects that as women we need to speak about but we don't. And one of those is going to be church hurt, because my very first hurtful experience came through the church when I was 16. It actually started before that, but all of that kind of went with that. So that's just a tidbit of side plug. Y'all look out for that. That'll start in April. But so now moving forward, you are doing you're talking about the compilation book, which is in here, and I can't wait to get my copy. Are we doing a giveaway? Yeah. Okay. So we're doing a giveaway. So the first person to type the word push will receive this book. It's the story of, you said, 14 different women.
Yes, and it is more than domestic violence. Just to share a little bit, it's a Miss Gina Peterson in here is talking about online dating. Get this book. I don't know if you would feel comfortable.
Okay, Destiny McLeod. Destiny is the winner of the book. So Destiny, I will inbox you and get your address and send it to you. Okay? Everybody else who wants to purchase the book, where can they purchase it?
They can purchase it at survivorbehindthename.com/A Hogan.
A Hogan. And you have a link that you'll be sharing.
Yes, I will.
Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up because, y'all, I've been chomping. I know Alyssa is hungry, y'all. I'm sorry. It's the wine. I know Alyssa is hungry. But before we do that, in all of everything that you've been through, I mean, you are a true example of what being a visionary is, right? So how do you keep the faith? How do you keep the faith?
Well, you have to stay around people that are faithful. My complete circle has changed. I mourned more than just my husband's death, my career, who I was, broken into pieces, and rebuilding myself back up to what I even like to eat.
Right.
Wow. A lot of relationships. My family and his family, that was my family.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And so what do you do now?
What do you do now?
When everybody's angry with you for something that you had no control of. Yeah, you stay faithful. And you continue in reaching out and holding on to God. My relationship was built better. And I hold on to it.
Okay.
Because he has been good to me. I have never wanted, since I've been close to him these last 3 years, he has provided.
Absolutely.
And everything happens for a reason.
Everything.
Because we're not even going to mention, my kids were actually, I had to put them in somebody else's custody. Because the state attorney put a no contact order against me. So at that time, I was violating the order, honey.
You couldn't contact your children?
No, I could not.
Like your children?
My children. PJ and Mom. My children I birthed. That I had never hurt.
Well, wait a minute now. Wait a minute.
My daughter was a witness in the case. That was his reason.
Oh, wow. Wow. God.
And who would ever want their daughter? I cried about that. But that was my angel.
Yeah. Wow. Jesus.
That was a part of God's plan in saving my life. And my children are doing good, yes. They're on a roll.
Good.
Children, I got them into therapy. I refer.
Right. Let's talk about that.
Yes, black people.
Therapy is a good thing.
Yes.
Okay, I have a counselor, and I am excited to go lay on her sofa and talk about me. It is nothing wrong with therapy. Again, another taboo topic that we're going to talk about every third Wednesday here at 301 Cafe. The flyer will be out. Hey, mama. I'm sorry, that's my mama. That's your mama. That's my mama. You get excited when you see your mama. That's my mama. Yeah. So we will be talking about that. That's something we're going to talk about, too. So Alyssa, before we go on, I just want to present you with this vision certificate. You all know, as a vision midwife, I think it is necessary to have a birth certificate for your vision because you've had to literally push to birth your vision. So here is your vision certificate, and it just reads, congratulations, Alyssa Hogan, on birthing your vision, life coach, speaker, author, advocate, MiShara Bianca, that's me. The Vision Midwife presents this certificate of birth to you. this February 22nd, 2018. So here is that for you.
Yes.
And so Destiny
Thank you.
says she's going to see you Wednesday.
Yes, that's
Okay.
let me just plug her right now. That's my event planner for my book signing.
Okay,
so
nice.
She will be there.
When is the book signing?
The book signing is next Wednesday at Total Wine Millennia.
Girl, can I come on through
Yes.
the wine?
Yes.
Y'all know that she likes a
Y'all
good
be
laugh.
slipping.
Woo.
Yes, and you know I
What?
like me some wine
Wait a
too.
minute, you
so
gotta-
what goes better with a book than wine?
When is it? Next Wednesday. What
Next
time?
Wednesday at 6, from 6 to 8.
Okay.
And come out and just have
You got a flyer?
some chat. Yes, I'm gonna have to get that to you.
I'll be there because y'all know anytime listen, that's
Anytime
right
there's
around
some
the
wine.
corner. Anytime there's some wine, you can expect your girl to be in the building here. So again, we want to thank you for sharing your story. You can follow Alyssa. Tell the people how they can find you, Alyssa.
You can find me at Alyssa A. Hogan, that's ALYSSAAHOGAN.co, not com, C-O. And sign up, subscribe to get some empowerment. I share some tidbits on pushing yourself through your career, how to empower yourself, how to work on some parenting issues. Yes, because I do think I'm the #1 mom. I haven't.
Well, after you done been through that, I ain't going to dispute that, boo. You might be.
Yes.
All right.
Get you in school, and I will push you through with your visions. You know, what better?
We out here birthing visions.
Yes.
We out here birthing visions. And so, again, I'm excited about where you're going. I'll definitely be at the wine tasting next week. We have some new viewers. So what I'm going to ask you all to do is we're going to sign off. But I want you to make sure you come back on and see the video in its entirety so you can really learn about the name behind the headlines. This is the latest compilation. Her story is in here. So before you Google it and hear what other folks say, get it straight from her and she can tell it right to you, all right?
Yes.
All right, so before we sign off, what's one thing that you'd like to share with our visionaries about birthing their vision?
Do it. Don't be afraid to do it. There is fear, but fear is not of God. Push through it. You know, we have all been through some. I mean, we're talking teen moms. You're saying, I can't go to school. I can't do a business. I can't do this. I can't move up. Yes, you can. You have to put in the work.
Right. And that's the thing, is putting in the work.
Put in the work. Now, if you don't want to do the work, stay where you're at.
Right. You got to put in the work.
Yeah,
and you have to
the
be
women that are
consistent.
working with me, if you're not ready to do the work, it's nothing I can do for you.
Right. Absolutely. 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 Well, Alyssa, I thank you for coming and being a guest on EnVision. We're going to dig into this good food here at 301 Cafe. Please tune in next month. I have a couple of visionaries. I'm not going to mention them yet. I want to confirm it. But April 18th, the third Wednesday of April, every third Wednesday moving forward, we're going to have 3W, which is women, words, and wine.
Yes,
the taboo topic
right
for April 18th is relationships. And we're speaking about everything. How to be single, how to trust, how to forgive, everything that has to be done with relationships, how to be in a healthy and committed relationship.
Yes.
Everything that you need to talk about. We have an expert, Charlotte McCullough, who will be in the room. Yeah, girl, because you know we running this circle. We out here working these business. I told y'all.
Yes,
so
you
Charlotte,
have to run by alike people. That is also a good thing. You have to get in a group where people that are supportive,
absolutely, and they don't mind investing in that
Yes.
vision. So Charlotte is going to be our expert in the room for that night. So she's going to be here for the women to ask whatever questions you want to ask, and we will talk to you all later. Again, if you're just joining in, it'll be posted on Facebook. You can check it there. But also make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's really simple, MiShara Bianca. Thank you for tuning in, visionaries. Have a good night.
Bye.